Welcome to the channel. This is Reliable Rudy. Just got everything set up. A little bit of a slow morning and take anything. Played the GFAI a little bit yesterday. Never had the true size that we really wanted, and we can go back into that trade. As normally I get a few fills going into that initial move, but we've seen the volume increase on GFAI and was actually able to take out this level that I had marked on my chart. So once it showed me, especially that washout top, right through that 525, which should have been resistance. This is what kind of put it on the map, and what I was looking for was a little bit more of a pullback, just marking those highs. And we were on the bid at 75. So we did get one fill in this. I was able to kind of be able to print us, but same story. We didn't get any further pullback down into here that allowed us to further that entry. So we held, I believe it was like 5% left that we ended up getting out near this 7, into this 7. And like I said, just didn't have the size. Today, gapping up, doesn't have the weakness to get back down to 650. So we were able to take a green trade on it and go from there. I seen DWAC was going early. I had a late start to my market analysis today, as you know, there's always something that comes up that keeps you away from doing something. But DWAC, I don't know if I would have took the entry on this or not. It's known for, getting a pop and then coming on right back down. But built a nice U shape, so getting the gap up over top of that 15 could have put it on the radar to, mark it in off the open. And even over top of this wick is kind of where we're gapped up to. But those are the two top movers. I'll get a nice fresh update for you here. We'll look at some, excuse me. We'll look at some top volume movers for the day. GFAI, nice continuation play. It'd be nice to have a better entry down here off that day where we'd be just scalping every single level to the upside and hopefully get that move up to the gap. But I don't have the entry that I wanted, so it is what it is. Nikola, we are still holding that 150 break on Nikola. It was a very clear level, nice flat top that it built around these 150s. And I still think that this can just trade sideways and give us another leg up. And where I'm looking for is that 3 break. So you can see this resistance built up right here that's wicked into. If it's able to get over top of that 3, we think that it's possible that we can even run this to maybe this low. This could have been a low that a lot of people expected and that it was a flat bottom break. Give some sort of retest up towards that 4. So 450 to 390 give or take is a sell window that I'm looking to at least hold a piece for. Whether it gives that to me or not, I'm not sure. Some other top volume movers. Trying to hold these lows. Strength going negative a little bit. I don't know how I feel about that. The Siri, we did have an exit of the Siri position at 41s. Actually, the fill came in at 42s, but man, I thought it was just gonna go to the moon. It was getting ready to push for all-time high price. Never moved like that. I've never seen anything like what Siri did yesterday, so that was pretty impressive. But getting some more volume, kind of an inside candle, I'd still say that even if it pulled back into if this pulled back to 6 flat or into the 5s in some way, shape, or form. Is my stream broken here? Are we back live? Huh, that was weird, huh? It looks like we're good though. But yeah, it's definitely a unique, different style of trading that, I'd be surprised if you didn't hear something and be able to kind of maneuver that to your own benefit, whether it's exactly what I'm looking for or something different. I don't know. But I'd have a hard time thinking that you wouldn't learn something from it. But all in all, just share my opinion with this stream and hopefully make some money in the process while doing what I love to do. And looking at this BDRX, I think is going to be one of these trades that I could be trying to take for this live stream, we have the nice volume increase relative to what it's been doing over here. Now you can see when this volume picked up right here, you can see this candle isn't really a good candle, a nice looking candle. You can see it just wicks right down, gives up the gains, and no volume comes in during this move. It gives a little pop, but to me, that's just kind of holding the level. And why I say holding the level is because I see a nice uptrend right here. And if I just mark the body candles, I'll keep this wick and a couple of these wicks, just trying to get as many touches as possible. This next volume increase, which actually has better looking candles off of this, gives a nice clean break of that downtrend. Now, it's possible that the downtrend needs to be set something like that, and we're rejecting it right now. But I don't know. Just the way that this volume increase came in, also breaking over this sort of neckline off of a 580 break, and the volume really didn't pick up until that candle. It goes from 3K to 15K to 66K on the channel break. So that's a little bit of what I'm going to be looking for. I was also looking at this EBIS. I was all, uh, this was one of those that, gapped up right near that neckline level right there. Wicks through it, came back down in, seeing the direct correlation off the gap. So when I see that get the gap fill buyers holding above that, now actually taking out this wick price, if this got over the day's high, this could easily be one that starts running. But it's also an early entry. You can see this sort of descending channel we've had marked for the stock. High margin company, they bring in a little bit of free cash flow on certain quarters, but still has a lot of kinks to work out as a company individually. So is that going to be anything? Is this going to be anything that means something? This could be looked at as some sort of neckline break, but you also have this sort of flat bottom break where, break the flat bottom, you test the flat bottom before you sell off more. Well, if it kind of fakes some people out and this actually can get over top of this 775, could be something there. So I'm going to keep my eyes on EBS as well. Not the most amount of volume in both those tickers that I'm watching, but uh, yeah, that's what I'm going to be watching a little bit for today. I did see a couple notable moves. ABEV. This has been a long swing position that we've been playing a while, but nice action off this. Breaks the flat top, retests the flat top, set the higher low, and now going to go flirt the true resistance up here, which is probably that 325. So if ABEP can get continuation, next level is a profit take, I'd say probably the top end. Maybe this gap was filled on the dot before it went, but I could see a little bit of resistance building up to that 350, 340 range. But ABEV notable move, and PBR also a notable move. I should say oil itself is notable. I was looking at the NQ quite a bit this morning. Reason being is because yesterday was the first, nice red candle that's actually come into the market. But now getting a little bit closer, where are we gonna get some follow through down to this gap, possibly the trend line? Maybe it doesn't get to the gap, maybe it just retests these tops right here. Uh, but I was keeping the NQ on watch, and if we go to a 15-minute chart, you're going to see it gaps up, it retraces down to the gap, gap fill buyers are there. You'd think, okay, let's start building this sort of U shape. Well, now it puts a red engulfing, retesting those lows currently. Now, if it starts rejecting this wick low, the NQ is going to go red. And all it would take is to put a nice red candle underneath these lows, and you'd see some continuation to the downside, in my opinion. But if it can hold these levels, I don't see why this couldn't give some sort of retrace. And what I mean by retrace, if I run a fib tool through this, you can see that gap fill comes right at that first retracement, and the bottoms meeting up at that 702. You can see correlation and action off of each one of these retracement levels to the downside. So I do like seeing the correlation there. So does it need to give some sort of retrace up before further rejection? So potentially this could be the early start of, retracement. So there could be some trades available from that perspective. But all in all, if this started following this type of, and maybe it just needs to come down to the uptrend. It has a nice uptrend right here. and I'm sure that's almost parallel channel if you just mark these tops right here, fairly parallel channel. So maybe it also, on this retrace, it fakes some shorts out and says, hey, let's go take out the highs. Market's been pretty strong, so we'll see. So now I'm going to focus up, and I think we're going to start with this BDRX. I kind of like the way this is setting up. If it's able to push this downtrend, I don't see how else I could possibly set that unless I was marking it as some sort of resistance area where 730 gets rejected hard. It's looked at as some sort of flat top right there. But BDRX is going to be one that I keep on watching. EBS, getting some continuation, uh, flirting up to those 775s. This could be one that we try. 2 million in volume, so actually decent volume for the ticker itself. Already increased in volume relative to what it's done the last, since June 21st. This is the most amount of volume that this ticker's gotten. Excuse me. Got the hiccups from this coffee. I would say I'm a little disappointed in myself with the Odyssey Tech. But given the gap up, not having any weakness coming down to that 50 flat, holding a green candle up 6%, you can see how you should put in that first candle and you wick down right here. Well, now it's sort of flirting with these highs right here. So if that was going to get any sort of breakout, we map these lows out, map the highs out. Looks like a fairly parallel channel right there. So if you were looking to take this breakout, I would say have your outs up to 55 probably, but you could get some further movement if it wanted to mess around. But showing you the early signs of that channel and where I was really looking at it, you can see the one line I have in still. I looked at this as a parallel channel and gave a nice sideways, nice full green engulfing candle right here. We were trying to get a little bit more pullback, and I actually had to go to a 5-minute chart for this. You can see this is that first breakout. Didn't have much correlation, so I was looking for a retest of some of these highs right here, but just never came back in. But now that I have this channel drawn out, if it wants to keep respecting the bottom end of this channel, I'm going to play it like this could be setting up some sort of wedge pattern for an eventual break, and probably a gap up is what it would end up being. So I'm hoping that it continues to reject. I'm not going to play that name today, but you can see nice volume increase, consolidation, low volume. If this wanted to take out this level, I would say there's going to be some people that are looking to punch long on it. Of course, you never know where the shorts are going to try to push in. But BDRX, second candle of this pullback, is this going to be a candle that stays green? I don't know. But around this 6 level is where I'm going to be interested, and we'll see what this has in store for us if it can pull back into that 6. Refresh on the top movers of the day, now moved up to number 3, surpassing RFTX. And I'd say RXRX is also one that I have on watch, simply because this has been a pretty respectable channel to the upside. Not the most amount of volume coming into the stock, 3 million on the day, but it's a little bit more expensive, and you can see it gaps up, fills the gap, trend line holds, gives up the gap, trend line holds, and now we put a green engulfing candle in, getting closer to that positive break on a 15-minute. But strength is without question there. Uh, the initial move day wicked into these highs at 10, consolidated here, took out this sort of flat top here around 13. This is when we traded at 13 originally. And this is actually where we identified the channel. Well, we actually weren't able to get a re-entry back in this consolidation day, and we missed the true move. So looking at the right names, just got to execute just a little bit better. Is this going to give us another green candle up to the top end of this channel? I don't know. But it's a reasonable setup that it has going right here. If it can hold, 15s, I think 15 is a reasonable entry where you can give it this trend line. 50 cents, a deeper stop. So if you wanted to be patient, wait for it to come closer to this risk reward area, you could do that. I just wouldn't be able to guarantee that it's going to be able to break through the middle of this green candle, which is where, it's close to 15. If you just wanted to give it 20 cents, it's a reasonable risk that you could throw on for that stock. But holding this trend line was the important thing that I needed to do for today, and up 2.5% today. So if it really wanted to get going, I think you could see this name, up. There's the open around 480. You could easily see this move double digits, 20% to the top end of the channel. That is what we're looking to identify. Sun W, also one that we're keeping our eyes on, and simply we looked at this as some sort of neckline break right here. We never played it on this day. Well, then it gaps up. Well, now it's traded sideways enough. Now, if the volume wanted to come in, this is a nice wick on this candle at 4%. Probably some sort of downtrend built in through this. So wedge pattern to the downside, as this is some sort of flat bottom potentially. So still going to have to fight through that downtrend, but all in all, not a half bad look. An RXRX candle turning green. So 5 minutes left in the volume, 52K, getting closer to exceeding this. So potentially passing the rules of getting 3 green candle to the upside. Showing a wick top right now. So is this going to get any movement to the upside? I'm not quite sure yet. So that is what we're watching for today, and BDRX coming on into this 6, which is where we're looking to play it. Would be nice to have the initial entry somewhere in here. Like I said, my morning was a little flustered. DWAC, nice green volume. A little scared of it based off of this wick, and why I'm going to show you is anytime I see wicks like that, I just want to figure out what type of level we're seeing. And just going from this top seems reasonable. This is a notable drop from the last gap down. Holds this price down here very well. You can see, is there a gap there? It looks like there is a sneaky little gap right there. Wasn't able to fill it there. Well, now it wicked through it right here. So this is, anytime I see clear rejection, not only is it a gap fill, it comes in at a retracement level. And then see it come on down like this, that's going to make me just kind of stay away from it, because I'd expect this to end up being some sort of channel. And the reason why I hate those wick tops is because there's a million different ways I can set this channel. I can set this channel from the body. I can set this channel from the top of the wick. So it's the larger that wick, and not being a green engulfing candle, the more leeway you have to figure out how is this channel or pullback channel going to be, and also identifying that channel to give yourself a later break when the bull flag starts to pan out. So in this scenario, with the second candle, if it were to get over top of this wick price, and you maybe give it just a little bit more to the body of that candle, this is the level that you could try and play it, but then you also have to worry that there's a big seller at the top end of those bodies, and also the middle of this wick right here. So not really the type of setup that I'd want to trade, but nice volume that's come in. There's a wick on each one of these candles that's holding the price up. So I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if this, took out the highs of the day and extended. But from where we've seen that get rejected, just not going to be my cup of tea. BDRX coming on in underneath the 6. So giving a true test, maybe right into that 580, which is the body of this original neckline. This could be an area. The only part that I don't like is a little bit of increased volume coming in off of this new downtrend that we had set before we had it set, coming in through this, give or take, something like that. But I still think that this has some potential coming on in. 2 minutes left in this candle. If this starts leaving a wick, maybe we can think about trying this. And my out is going to be, probably this 560. That leaves 550 to catch a bid. So I don't want to be too quick. I want it to show me that there's going to be some type of buying pressure before I even try this. But uh, 5 lots on 80s. So not the most amount of size, but still showing a little bit of a wick right there temporarily. So we see what this third candle has in store for us. If we can get an entry on this, we're going to try and go from there. But if it wants to flush through, there's only so much we can do for it. If the buyers aren't there, the buyers aren't there. So we're going to be a little patient with this one. We're going to see what this third candle has in store for us. Gave up those 580s. I think I'm actually just going to start a small position here in case the bottom end of this wants to try and catch a bid. But I feel pretty close to that risk reward stage that we want to try. This red candle pulling into the middle of this green move right here. So we're going to go ahead and try this. Not yet. Let's go right now. So we took a entry level position, meaning that is a very small position. And we're going to see how this next candle opens and go from there. Starting to give some sort of flush. Let's go ahead and try just a small order right here. Double my size on the position and see if we can continue getting this type of look right there. So I don't know where my order filled at. Looks like we got 66. So not half bad. Building the position. And we'll see if this next candle wants to give us some sort of flush. And we're going to go off of 565. It is going to have to fill this gap down right here. And probably going to give it down to 50 cents. Couple orders, and we're on the bid at 62. We'll see if this has any weight to it and go from there. And that's a good first start to the candle. If I wanted to, I could start taking some pieces off in case we come on back in. 5 lots on 98. It was able to push up 602 is what it showed for the move. On my chart, it only got up to 99s. So that's interesting. This wick also coming in the middle, or the start of this red move. So by no means, just because it puts a candle like that, is this over. It does show that there is a little bit of buying pressure coming in for the stock. So that is a good sign, but not out of the woods yet. EBS, odd, and what was the third one we were looking at? I could have sworn, oh, RX, RX. So we got to keep those three on watch. 8 lots on the bid at 72. So I'd like to see those start stacking above 75s. The first entry I got wasn't the best. You know, it is a little bit spready. So I got 77s, but got 66, so sitting about flat on the position. The bids that I can go just going off the bid from 573s. So is this going to be able to give us any type of movement to the upside? We're going to find out. Bid stacked at 80s, so good start. To this candle, we have 11 minutes left, but able to hold the levels for time being. And more than likely, with it showing me this candle, my outs, I hate having my outs around the wick lows when there's a $0.25 level right underneath of it. So hopefully it just doesn't go down there and we don't even have the option. And we're going to cancel that order off of 62s and we're just going to go with this order right here. Not doing anything too crazy. 2 fills on the name. Take a look over at RX. You know, if it wants to pull back into 15s, we want to be alerted before that test of 15. So let's put an alert there at the 1508 and go from there. Looking at DWAC and GFAI. GFAI, that just, you know, I was talking about starting a position down here. Not really interested in trying it up here. Could get some scalps on it, I'm sure. But not going to be my cup of tea. APLS, a nice stair step action after the big gap down. Continuation play. Looking at 30 is pretty decent support. Down to the initial move highs right there. Give or take 2750. You can see the kind of trend where it leaves this wick and it's not able to. Well, what happens if it's able to push over that is what I'm hoping for. If it's able to get over top of this wick high. Has this wedge pattern been going long enough? Does it need to pull back in one more time and then pop one last time? Regardless, if it gives a move to the upside, we think there is tremendous amount of room. You know, just the start of that gap at 10 is almost 100% up right there in itself, and then 15 gap, that would be a 200% move from these 5 levels. So definitely some potential with this trade. And we think that this could potentially be some early longs entering in for the potential wedge break. So it looks like we're going to have to be patient to find out. But good start to this candle. Candle number 3. I'm sure you're going to have some sort of downtrend somewhere like that. Or if it wants to keep following it, you know, down to 5. How does it act off that trend line? I'm not going to be holding it that far down. But maybe if I get stopped out off of these 55s or 48s and it pulls back in to you know, closer to that 5 flat, maybe that's where we can try it. Azul, a lot of green volume coming in off of that initial start. This was a nice churn to the upside right here, right around this middle ground. So I'm not surprised that this is where the longs try to come in and catch a bid for it. Simply because, you know, this middle ground right here is where the big players are at. As each time we've gotten close to that negative break, boom, that was actually the low. Your positive break, somewhere in the middle of this green candle, we're holding above that initial positive break, and When we take out the highs right here, I do have to keep an eye on this BDRX. So now giving you that wick into the middle of that red candle, half this candle is over. 75s here on, we have 8 lots on 81s actually, so my chart's actually not respecting where the price is actually supposed to be, which just means that it's not going through the tape. It's not ringing these guys that are on the tape, that are on the ask and the bid. It's just market orders coming inside of it. But this price is actually at 86, so I actually like the look of this candle a lot better at 86.